What's up, dudes and girls? We are here for day 2 of phase 2 of dumbbell only, and this one is going to be, this phase is full body. So we are starting with a special exercise, which is going to be the overhead split squat. Now, a split squat is essentially you're in a lunge position, so you're splitting your stance there, and you're just bringing one knee down and pushing straight up. So it's almost kind of like a single leg press in a way, with your one leg behind you balancing you out. But this one we're going to make it a little bit harder by holding dumbbells overhead. So what we talked about in the previous episodes, where when you raise your center of gravity, there's instability that takes place and you have to really engage the core to stabilize you throughout that motion. So that's one of the reasons why we do the overhead split squats. Make it a little bit more difficult. You have to engage the core and the muscles to help balance you through the motion. And also it's gonna be working on the shoulder stability too, so it's real good. So hopefully you get your mobility done, your warm up done, and you're ready to go. Because I'm ready to go, so let's do it. Okay, so first things first, you can press the dumbbells overhead, and then you can step into that split stance here, or you can first step into the stance and then raise the dumbbells overhead, and then you're ready to go. So it's kind of depending on what you're comfortable with and what you want to do first. But once you get in this position, be coming straight down, you can touch the knee, or you can just elevate it slightly above the ground and then push straight up. So you can tell you want to keep a somewhat full extension in the arms. You can have a slight bend if you'd like, depending on how comfortable you are with having either a locked out or just slightly bent. Slightly bent, you're gonna tense the muscles a bit more, and then bring it straight down and press straight up. Oh yeah. You get a burn in the shoulders and also in the legs too. It's a really good exercise. And you'll notice too, when you're in that lunge position, you're pretty much keeping that nice vertical torso and going straight down and straight up. Try not to have a forward motion here, because what happens if you start doing this, you're not only gonna get on the balls of your feet, your heels picking up, put more pressure on your knee, but you're also just not getting the proper position. You can throw you off balance. So really try to get real stable, get that straight up and down motion there. That way you're gonna feel nice and comfortable doing the lift at the same time. So keep the pressure mid-foot on the leading foot, and of course on the back foot, it's there just for support and balance. So you can be on the balls of your feet on that back foot there. Coming straight down, knees kind of in line with the toe there, and then pressing straight up. So it's gonna hit those glutes, the quad, a little bit in the hamstring, and also the shoulders too. And you'll notice, holding that weight above your head, don't go too heavy. You don't really need to, because it's in that constant tension throughout that whole motion there. And you're gonna feel that burn in the shoulders real quick. And I'm a little bit out of breath because of that. It does a lot. It's a lot of muscles engaging at once. So it's an excellent way to start the workout. So we got 3 more sets, because we're doing 4 sets total of 8 reps, and 8 reps each leg there. So I'm gonna get my breath and finish this one up. Yeah. Exercise number 2, and it's gonna be the back. And we got some bent over rows, but this one's a little bit different. It's gonna be head supported on the bench. Now the reason being is that when you're in a bent over row position, sometimes you can swing the weight up a little bit using the hips, using a little bit of that upper body. So if you place your head against the bench, it's gonna take that away. So it's gonna isolate the movement a little bit more to make it a bit more strict. So that's the point in these ones, and you can tell with this, you'll get a position in the bench where when you bend over and you place your head, your body's almost horizontal to the floor. So it doesn't have to be exactly horizontal, especially if you're a little tight in the hamstrings like I am. You know, just get in a comfortable position for you. You can get a wide stance and then just gently place your forehead against the bench. And right when you get that position, you can be rolling that weight up, and you're really gonna try to raise those elbows as high as you possibly can. So you don't wanna go too heavy, because if you feel like it's a struggle bringing the shoulders back and the elbows up, you know you're going a little bit too heavy. So drop the weight down if you feel like that. So we're gonna try these bad boys out and get a nice activation going on. It really isolates that movement. You know, you really feel that back have to work. There's really no other movement involved in that. So if you go really heavy with, like, let's say barbell bent over rows, you know, and I've succumbed to this too, where, you know, you kind of use a little bit of momentum in the upper body and legs, but with this one, it takes that out. So it makes the movement a bit more difficult. And also with the dumbbells, you can come inward, and then as you row up, you can pull them apart and really get that extra squeeze and then bring them back down to the bottom position. So we got 3 more sets of this, 8 repetitions, and we're good to go. All right. Time to work the chesticles. We got the close grip bench. Now, as the name explains, you're gonna be holding the dumbbells close together. Now, this does a couple things. It's not only engaging the chest, but it's also hitting those triceps pretty good too, because of the closed grip here So your elbows are running a bit tighter to the body as you lower it down to the sternum area, and then you're pressing it straight up. So you're gonna be holding the dumbbells together at all times. Now, a little thing I like to do on this one, and you should try out too, is don't go too heavy on these so you can get the proper motion like most exercises, but if you keep it a little bit lighter, what you can do is actually squeeze the dumbbells together as you're doing it. So you're not only getting a squeezing motion by pushing the dumbbells together to engage the chest, you're also getting a pressing motion. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 deal here. And as you can see, I'm kind of rotating outward a little bit, letting the dumbbells rotate here, and then pressing up and then bringing in my elbows together. So a little flare in the elbows down, kind of touch that chest, and then up and squeeze. The whole time, just kind of push your hands together. Get a lot more activation that way. Oh yeah. Definitely feel that burn when you're doing that, so it's a good one. You got 3 more sets, of course, 8 repetitions. And oh yeah, I already feel the pump in the chest. That's what's so great about adding a little bit of extra into these motions and movements. So you feel different. It's not just a typical press up and down, a little bit more engagement in there, and you can really get that nice mind-muscle connection as you're really squeezing, contract those muscles through the motion. Yeah. That's what we're all about, right? We're on to shoulders, and we're gonna be doing and performing the Scott press. Now, the Scott press is named for the reason of the popularity that was brought onto it by Larry Scott. And it was actually invented by Joe Gold. So Joe Gold was training Larry Scott, and Larry Scott was Mr. Olympia, the first one. I think it was, I believe, in 1969. And Larry Scott was known for his arms, his biceps and triceps, massive arms. He wasn't a very tall guy, but the problem was just because his arms are so big, his shoulders looked a bit smaller, so it looked a bit more narrow. So they were trying to find a movement that would disengage his triceps, but still get a good amount of shoulder work at the same time to hopefully build a bit more size in his delts, make him a bit more wider, and hence the Scott press was invented. And while you'll see with this one, it is kind of almost similar to an Arnold press where there's a slight external rotation in the beginning here. So you're actually starting in this position, kind of palms facing each other, elbows in front, rather than palms facing you like an Arnold press, and you're getting the full rotation. This one has a little less rotation in there, and it's not a full extension. So it's actually only really working on slight external rotation and elevation of the scapula there. So it's really gonna engage the delts and also the traps too. So we're gonna kind of go through this motion here. Obviously we're in a seated position. You can also do it in standing if you like, but we decided to do seated. Okay, so dumbbells here, and now you're gonna be rotating, externally rotating out, and also elevating the traps. So as you can see, my thumbs are pointing down now, and my elbows are elevated, but I'm not getting the full extension like you'd normally do. So it's slightly disengaging the triceps. They're still slightly engaged just to stabilize, but you're really only getting that deltoid work through this motion. You can feel those delts burning real quick, and you really don't feel anything in the triceps too, so it really does its job. They did an excellent job finding out that motion to really engage the delts and try to take the triceps out of it. Because of course Larry Scott, he didn't have to worry about tricep size. He had big enough triceps already. So that's why this is an excellent exercise, but it's kind of a different motion. It's not one you're typically used to, I'm sure. So start a bit lighter, get that motion down, and really try to feel those deltoids doing the work. You'll feel a lot of trap work too, especially at that elevation here when you're elevating your traps upward or your scapula upward, and it feels good. So we're gonna continue on, do this rest of these sets, and then move on, baby. Yeah. Thank you, Larry Scott and Joe Gold for inventing this exercise. So we are on to the isolation work, and the first one we're gonna be performing is gonna be the pullovers. Now this is another one that was popularized quite a while ago by some of the golden era bodybuilders. It's gonna be the cross bench dumbbell pullover. And if you've been following this for a while, you're very familiar with this exercise, one of our favorites. And it really works the chest, the lats, stratus anteriors, delts, a little bit in the triceps. You feel the stretch in the triceps, the core. So it's a lot. There's a lot to this. Even though it's an isolation exercise, by utilizing shoulder flexion and extension, it's really encompassing a lot of different upper body muscles. A lot, and you'll see when you do it. But what you want to do is, since you're lying cross bench, you want to support your upper back, and your hips are going to be free floating here, and you want to dip them down just a little bit. So it's going to create a bit more stretch as you pull the dumbbell back. And you're just going to be holding the dumbbell like so in the palms, and just going to lay your head, the back of your skull, on the bench here, so your chin is going to feel, or your head's going to feel nice and comfortable, natural position. Pulling over, nice deep breath. Slight bend in the elbows, and then extending to the top position. Deep breath, and extend. You're gonna really feel that stretch as you bring it all the way back, and then bringing it back to the top position here. Oh yeah, there we go. Really feel that burn and that stretch in those lats. See, the elbows are slightly bent here. You try not to get too much extension in the arms at the top position, so you don't want to bend and extend. You want to keep them bent and then pull it over. There can be slight extension, but just try not to overdo it a bit as you're performing the motion there. Whew, that was a good one. As you can tell, when I was talking about the breathing, want a nice deep breath on the way down, the stretch position, and then as you lift it back to the top position, exhale. Get that nice rhythm, and it's gonna make the exercise a little bit easier that way if you get that breathing down with the motion. So we're only doing 3 sets. It is an isolation exercise, but we're upping the reps a bit, so it's 10 reps. So don't go too heavy on it, but you definitely, as with all the exercises, you definitely do want to feel that work, and trying to hit close to failure on the end of those repetitions there, because then you know that you're pushing your body and forcing that adaptation process in there to make sure you're always getting that consistent progression and betterment of the body there. That's some light dumbbells, as you're probably thinking to yourself, seeing that. 15 pounds, like, come on, is that buff dude weight here? But this exercise, this isolation exercise around the worlds, it is one that you need to take lightly, because it's a very particular motion, and one that's gonna put your shoulders in a position of stress. It is predominantly working on chest, but it is also definitely hitting the shoulders too. But you're in that supine position, and you're starting with the palms upward. Now I'm gonna get in position here so you can get a good visual. So you're gonna lay back, and you're bringing the dumbbells here. So immediately holding the dumbbells, the shoulders and the chest are gonna have to be tense to hold them in that position, palms up. Now the elbows are slightly bent, and then you're gonna be rotating right horizontally with the floor up to overhead, just like so. Now what you don't wanna do is bend the elbows too much, and then you're kind of moving them, but as you can tell, the elbows are kind of taking over, and so you want to really keep just a slight bend in the elbows and really have all that motion in the shoulder joint there, and try to keep that nice horizontal positioning the arms of the floor. And you want to go nice and slow, bring it down, touch your hips, and then all the way back above head, just touch, and then rotate all the way down. You want to take it nice and slow, and really feel that motion there, and the chest is definitely going to start burning very quickly. So what you can do too is depress the shoulders downward at this bottom position, and then as you rotate upward, the hands above your head, you can slightly elevate the shoulders there, and that's going to help activate the traps. Oh yeah, damn, that burns. Whew. So it's maybe not a motion you're too familiar with or you don't see a lot, but these are excellent to isolate the chest and also a bit in the shoulders there too. So again, keep that weight very light. And you can even do it without weight just to get that motion down to make sure you have the shoulder mobility to be able to perform this exercise. Because a lot of times you'll see people do it, they're either going too heavy or they might not just have the shoulder mobility to be able to complete this exercise. But if your arms slightly pick up above the floor so you're not completely horizontal, that's okay. What you're doing is actually working on shoulder mobility with this exercise too, so it's very good. So that's why you do want to keep it very light, so that way you're not putting unnecessary stress on that joint and causing pain or discomfort and even possibly injury. Last exercise, and we have the windshield wipers. So it is the core work now, and it is going to be working on your abdominals, your obliques, and also a bit in the rectus spinae muscle, that lower back. So really a complete core, and it's a twisting motion, but you're twisting instead of like in Russian twist where you're twisting your upper body, your torso, you're going to be twisting your lower body here. And it's going to be in the supine position here, lying flat. Now there's two different versions you can do with the windshield wipers. You can do one that's a bit easier, and then one that you can make it a bit more difficult. And the difference is you're either going to keep your knees bent or you're going to straighten them out there. So this is the way it's going to look like. You want to lie flat down, nice and supported. You want to keep your hands far out here. So this is going to be kind of your base of support with your hands stretched out this way. So the first version, as you can see, is just knees bent together. You'll be taking all the way to one side, feel that nice stretch, and you try to keep your shoulder down at all times. So try not to let it pick up as you're twisting. So if you keep it down, that means you're gonna get the full stretch in your obliques there, a little bit in the lower back and the abdominals. So you're just gonna be twisting from side to side. It's actually a really excellent back mobility exercise too. You can, honestly, if you have a struggle with that, you can just keep your legs on the ground too and twist side to side with your feet on the ground. So there's really 3 different levels. You can either do it this way, or you can straighten your legs out, and all of a sudden it makes it a lot harder because now it's putting a bit more weight onto your core there. Oh yeah, that's good. Whew. That good engagement in that core. Lovely. Strong core equals a strong lift and a strong body. That's why you always want to make sure you include core work. Oh yeah. There we go, dudes and girls. We just wrapped up day 2 of phase 2. So thank you for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you guys on day 3. Oh yeah. Stay buff, baby. Yaps bub.